Today, we're going to look at a sector of real estate that's often overlooked because it's not exactly flashy or exciting, and that's medical centres, life science labs, and private hospitals. So, Mish, welcome back to the show. The latest data shows investors are flocking to this sector, the healthcare sector, like never before. Let's just dive straight in. Is it a safety play?
Hi, Sam. Thank you again for being my fabulous host of the podcast. Always lovely chatting to you.
Always a pleasure to be here with you.
And to answer your question, I would say definitely a flight to quality and sustainability. Thinking about it, even in high inflation environments or in a recession, people don't stop needing hip replacements or pathology tests.
Oh my God. For anyone that actually has someone that they know that's getting a hip replacement, I wasn't laughing at them. It just sounded funny. But it's very true, right?
When we have things medical issues that we need to deal with, we got to go and deal with them.
You got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do, and it's that's why we call it the non-discretionary demand, and you can't just skip it. You can't just go off to the mall, but you can't skip going to the GP and having yourself sorted out. So
Yeah,
it's a
true.
demand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I heard that $2 billion was poured into this sector recently, which to me sounds like a lot of stethoscopes. What's driving that specific dollar amount right now in 2026?
Interesting statistics, Sam. Just having a look at them, and I'd say it's kind of like the silver tsunami. Our population is aging rapidly, and with that, they require more frequent medical care. But it's also the type of tenant medical professions are that every landlord dreams about. So, in other words, the length of leases, 5 to 15 years leases, very expensive, good quality top fit outs. And they really default. They spend a fortune on their premises. So, hooking one of those as a tenant is an absolute bonus. It's a must.
Yeah.
Australia's wellness economy has surged to $141 billion, representing 7.8% of the GDP and growing at 7.6% annually. That is absolutely
wow.
gobsmacking.
Yeah, totally. Well, I guess if you're talking about having those more premium fit outs, if someone is putting $500,000 into a fit out and, dentist chairs and plumbing, I guess they're not just going to, decide, oh, the rent's a little bit cheaper over the road. I'll just go over there. I'm thinking that that's why it's probably so,
premium rental.
I'll say sticky.
Yeah, very much sticky rentals. I mean, these kinds of properties have just catapulted into a totally different class, a different segment of their own. So the rents are super high and they become high demand. So, it's low yields, unfortunately. But if you've got a vacant property and you can hook medical, happy day. I mean, they literally, the tenants are literally bolted in by the fact that they've spent so much, and you'll find that they've done a lot of due diligence to ensure longevity in growing sectors, growing areas. So that's really why it's fantastic for institutional investors. For big super funds, you'll find a lot of REITs are going into them, and they are aggressively outbidding your private buyers for these type of assets. It's Australia's position is kind of the ninth largest wellness economy globally.
Oh, wow.
Which becomes more significant in the context. I mean, it's ninth largest wellness economy. I've got to say that again, because if you think about it, this is a population that is 26 million, 27 million. I think we've just capped the 27 million. And it's the smallest country out of all the top 10. So if you have a look at the United States, which is number one, They have 335 million people, and China has 1.4 billion people.
Yeah.
Australia's top 10 placement reflects spending intensely rather than population scale. So, I mean, just to put things in perspective, Australians spend more than 6 times the global average on wellness.
Wow.
I mean, that really demonstrates cultural commitment to health, and it translates directly into commercial real estate. Happy days. It's
Yeah,
um,
totally.
it's growing, that sector.
Yeah. I like that. I like to hear that we're a country that is really focused on wellness. That makes me happy.
And it's not just medical, Sam. It's wellness all the way through. It's all sorts of things besides just medical. It really is lifestyle and wellness.
Mm. Now, you've talked about life sciences before. How is a lab different from a standard medical suite?
Look, it's all about they're completely different beasts because we're talking about specialized ventilation. We talk about high powered requirements, ultra sterile environments.
Mm.
You've also got temperature sensitive rooms that they build. With the rise of biotech and RNA research in Australia, there's just a huge, massive shortage of ready to go lab spaces. So rents in this niche are growing and almost faster than any other commercial sector.
Well, considering what you've just talked about, it makes sense, right? So, with these spaces that you're just talking about there, the lab spaces, is that lab spaces that are just in the big hospitals, or are we talking about different commercial real estate, like medical centers as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's medical centers, it's lab spaces that are totally separate. In fact, I'll give you an example. We had a look at a property recently, which was 2 sets of warehouses divided by one wall, and that had an opening between the two. And they'd set it up as a lab, a laboratory. In fact, it was for the, believe it or not, for the health and beauty sector, for the makeup, um,
Oh,
primarily for makeup, but high specifications, temperature controlled rooms. In fact, there were areas that were so specialized that we couldn't go into, and that was just in warehouse. That was just general
wow.
warehouse. So not necessarily hospitals or big hospitals. So there are opportunities out there if you're finding the right place in the right space with the right tenants. You know, it's pretty decentralized. We're seeing a shift away from massive hospitals towards neighborhood medical centers. Investors are buying up suburban retail strips and converting them into multidisciplinary clinics, GPs, physios, pharmacies, all under one roof. So it really is a blend of moving away from specifically those hospitals. The fundamental shift from discretionary to essential. Australians have allocated budgets previously spent on alcohol, on entertainment, towards longevity and performance and optimization,
Wow.
making wellness anchors remarkably stable income sources during economic uncertainty. Although I have to have a laugh at this because I think the first thing that started going bust in COVID was probably the gyms. They were all freaking out.
Yeah,
But
totally. And I'm pretty sure alcohol delivery went way up.
you're quite right. I think it was beauty and alcohol that shot through the roof. And
Yeah.
the gyms didn't do too well. But you know what? We've left COVID behind, and it's highly unlikely that's going to happen again. This whole sector has shifted. It's taken another step forward. So we've got into this hyper spending kind of fitness and wellness operators have moved from cheap back corner little spaces right up into the front. They're becoming premium anchors over prime real estate. In
Mm.
supermarkets, shopping centers. Whenever you go to these large format shopping centers, you see wonderful gyms in there. for that are closely linked to retail.
Yeah.
So it's a massive shift.
Yeah, totally. So this is all sounding really great. Is there a barrier to entry? Because this is, what we're talking about here is quite different.
Sam, it's very interesting because, like I said earlier on, if you've got a property that can be converted into medical, we had a case study in with one of my clients that came in. They bought a property for under $1 million, converted it. With all due respect, probably took about 6 to 9 months to convert. But he put GPs in there, and that property bounced up to over $1.8 million, the value of that property. So,
Mm,
yes, there is a barrier to entry if you are buying a ready made medical fit out a building, and it's definitely not for the faint-hearted. So regulations are supremely intense. You can't just
hmm.
run a generic office into a day surgery overnight. You got to go through all the compliance, the costings like medical waste, accessibility. They're huge. But if you
Mm,
get it
mm.
right, the yields are incredibly resilient. So, if you do have a medical institution that's looking at your building, put your hand in your pocket and go for it because it's going to be well worth it.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say that the healthcare is steady.
Very steady. Healthcare is incredibly steady, and if anything, growing. It's kind of the bedrock. As one analyst put it, healthcare, real estate is the infrastructure of life. It's long term play that doesn't care about the latest TikTok or trend or work
Mm.
from home policy. It's it's a fundamental need that is not going to be going away anytime soon.
Yeah, totally. It makes perfect sense. Like you said, that people are sick all the time, so and that doesn't change. I'm
No,
not going to. I'm not going to say the stat that you said again because it's. Oh dear. All right, let's talk numbers because landlords care about foot traffic.
yeah,
Traditionally, you want a Meyer or a David Jones to pull people in, but you talk about the mathematics of the transaction being a game changer. So, can you break down for us how does a gym outperform a traditional department store on a ledger?
very interesting, and good thing that you brought that up, Sam. So let's just have a look at a traditional retailer as an anchor. They bring a customer in once, maybe twice a week, if you're lucky, whereas a modern wellness tenancy creates multiple visits a day, and or if not a day, then in a week. So the typical member would probably arrive in the morning for their strength sessions. They might return at lunchtime for a bit of a recovery session or a float in the magnesium pool. And often in the evenings, they might go back there. Now, often a lot of these would be sort of centralized at retail centers. And while they're there, they are buying food. They're going to the Myers maybe once, or Coles or Woolworths, or one of those retail stores, but they're hanging around, so they're bringing tremendous value and foot traffic to that center, bearing in mind that they've gone there particularly because they want to go to the gym, as a health center. It kind of creates the spillover effect of opportunities before dinner, single consumer, uh, and it cross pollinates the border of retail of the ecosystem, grabbing a smoothie, buying groceries, picking up retail items, whatever it is.
Mm.
So it's not just a one off discretionary spending.
You've just made me feel very bad about my own healthcare habits. I only go to the gym once a day. Once and once only. Once I clock out, I clock out.
Look, I play a lot of pickleball, and I can tell you there's a lot of people that I play pickleball with. They'll go and play 3 times a day, or
Oh,
they'll
wow.
go to the gym twice a day. They'll go in the morning and then go again in the evening. So it's.
Oh, I need to look at my calendar. I need to step this up, Mish. Apparently, going to the gym once a day isn't enough anymore.
Let's not go there, okay? Some of us don't even go to the gym. So some of us just do other activities.
So, well, if I'm a landlord, I can't just give my tenant a dark 1,000 square meter basement anymore. The physical footprint of these brands is exploding. So, looking at activewear brands like LSKD or Lorna Jane, they aren't just selling tights anymore, right? Like, tell us how that plays into what we're talking about.
No, it's not tights at all. You're selling lifestyle over here. So, as fast as lifestyle is growing, if you just have a look around, you tell me when you go to supermarkets or superstores or shopping centers, how many people are walking around in brand names and sports brand names?
I live in yoga pants. Live in them. Even when I'm not at the gym.
So, brands like LSKD, which were never heard of 5 years ago, they've just scaled aggressively. They've just grown exponentially. They've got 30 stores returning 30 to 50% larger footprints than before.
Wow.
And, storefronts, it's no longer a little transactional point. It's an experience. It's a center. The modern wellness anchors are being fully integrated into this whole ecosystem. It's it goes beyond that, where you've got clothing, retail, infrared saunas, ice baths, red therapy. These gyms have everything. So it really is a lifestyle. It's dedicated to, they've got dedicated social lounges, and they're skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Members are.
Well, my gym does. We've got the red light therapy. We've got the hydro baths. Like, it's I love it. That's why I go there. It's cool.
I'm with you, Sam.
I mean, sometimes I prefer to do that in the gym session. No, always do my gym session.
My family they've all got gym sessions, and they've got what they call the black membership, which means that you can take a guest. So I said, well, I'm not going to go to gym by myself, but I will go with them.
Yeah.
So I'll go and I'll do a little workout with them when they go, and then I can enjoy the hydrotherapy and all the rest at the same time.
Yeah.
It really is, and it's become like a really nice activity to go and do.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just saying the same thing to Leon the other day. It's like almost turned into a social thing. So I think we're talking about a similar gym that you can take a friend for free. And I said it is such a smart move, because people that wouldn't go to the gym on their own are taking their friend. It makes so much sense. I think it's very clever. It's a very clever marketing move.
Absolutely, completely. And not to mention run clubs and local gym activations built the months in advance. I mean, these are being built. They constant stream of income. It's become a cultural event. It's not medical or just a retail launch. It really is become a cultural activity that we've all gotten very used to.
Yeah, totally. So, Mish, is this a post-pandemic fad with the healthcare centres, with the fitness centres going into the shopping centres? Where does the convergence of fitness and retail and healthcare go next?
Good question, Sam. And I think Australia pretty much follows quite a lot of the American market. And the American market have turned their retail shopping centres into experiential centres, entertainment. You spoke about conversion of fitness, retail, healthcare. It's all in one centre. So if we have a look at the data from Fitness Australia, which backs this up, 91% of Fitness Pro state functional training is long-term structural shift. It's not a fad. I think COVID was, dare I say, a fad, but I don't want to call it a fad. But
let's not go back there.
No, it was an event, but it created, and quite a lot has shifted in those last 6 years. So we're seeing 86% see sustained demand for specialized programming, for aging populations, for weight management. This is kind of next logical evolution. It's not just a one-stop shop. It's healthcare, it's fitness, it's the matrix, it's gyms, it's the fully integrated on-site and nutritionalists, psychologists, medical wellness providers, weight loss, pharmaceuticals. So there's an active change of consumer behavior. It's altering supermarket sales. And if anything, it's boosting apparel and the fitness sector as people transition into high activity lifestyles.
Mm.
They really are shifting. So your anchor tenant now is of the future doesn't just sell physical products. They sell medical, they sell health, they sell transformation. It's a community, and it's become a daily ritual. And
I was talking to someone about that this morning. It is a ritual, and you generally tend to go at the same time. It's in your calendar. You go with your friends. You go in your hydrotherapy bath, your red light, or whatever it is. But it is actually a ritual that goes into your calendar, and it doesn't take long for it to turn into a ritual because, of course, as soon as you feel good, you continue that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just have a look at all these soak houses that have popped up all over the place. I mean, they've become a social sort of place, a gathering. We bought our friends some vouchers for their birthdays to go to a soak house, and we couldn't believe how booked up these places were. And they're just more and more branches that are popping up all over, and that's sort of identified as health and wellness.
Mm, mm.
With a good shot of alcohol in your hand.
You can undo the wellness all in one drink.
Part of the relaxation set. You're getting to those steam baths, those hot baths with your drink in your hand, and it's social.
Well, that's my way of doing it. That sounds great. Mish, so for people that have listened to this episode and they're thinking, this actually sounds really good to me, where can they find out more information about, how you can help people do this?
Look, I think the best place, again, is go to our website, revolvecommercial.com.au. We've got loads of free information on the website. There's portfolio picks, due diligence books, case studies, blogs, elite memberships. There's online education. There's mentoring education, which I love doing. And if you've got any questions, there's a tab to Ask Mish. Just ask away, and we reply to those questions as fast as we can. There's loads of information on the website. It's all there. It's all centralized. And of course, keep listening to the podcast. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, please like it, give it a 5-star rating. It really helps to get other listeners hearing it and listening to it and educating. This is all about education. So the more we can put out there, the better. And I sincerely hope it is helping others. So share it with your friends.
Love it. Mish, thanks for going through that topic with us today. I think it's really interesting, and some of the things you talked about around the, not just the medical, but, the wellness, that's really interesting. I'd not really noticed that that's the way it was going. So again, thanks for sharing it. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next episode of Revolve Commercial.
Thanks, Sam. Always great chatting to you.